We grew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We are serving thousands of members now.
I believe it.
Thousands of members.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We started with that first time we started. I think the first month we had like around 30 patients and 30 the
Wow.
first month, and now we are talking about thousands. The last time I checked, it
I'm
was
so
over
proud of you guys.
5,000 members.
5,000 in about a year and a half.
About a year.
Wow.
And the number is growing.
I believe that.
Yeah.
See, this is why part of the reason I started this podcast and I'm bringing it alive, and why I wanted to come back with you is I feel like the story of the primary care physician and the story of the independently practicing physician isn't told enough. From the fear of leaving another practice or a big group, getting established, and what those early days when you have 30 members and a lot of staff,
Yeah.
and an expensive real estate, I'm sure. What is that process like for you? How did that go, just stepping away from leaving another practice, the vision of starting your own? Tell me about that process.
Well, it was a process of you are accepting a challenge. You're getting into something that you are not prepared. I mean, mentally I was prepared, but logistically, physically, I was like, what is next? What is next?
Right.
I didn't know. And since you said moving from I worked at UC Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is so big and everything is good. I mean, over there, but how are you more involved in the community? I didn't have that. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
There were times that I was seeing the patient after months of their waiting, and then they would come and say, hey, you remember the last time we spoke about this and that? And then I wanted to send you a message, but I think they took the message and I think it never reached you or something because you didn't respond. And it was true. The message never got to me. And here, I'm in the community. I made it in a way that if you can't reach me by the phone, I'm busy. I'm seeing other patients. You can walk in to that clinic. I'll make time, and just like I may not be able to sit there for 15 minutes and talk to you, but I'm there like for that 1 minute, 2 minutes. What's your quick question? What do you want? This is my question. That feeling, I didn't have it in those big organizations. This is like, I feel like I'm more involved.
You are.
That's why you see the number is growing and growing.
That's right.
And because they feel, today I had a white lady who was not naming another clinic, but she came here and she changed her primary care. I said, so what brought you in, ma'am? I see a lot of immigrants. I see, but were you not happy with your provider? What happened? She said, well, they were great people. The problem was that I couldn't build that connection with one person. Every time I went there, I saw a different person. So I had to start all over. It was very challenging for me, and that's a patient with a lot of health conditions that really needed follow-ups. I'm not saying they didn't do it. They did a great job, but the patient didn't feel that connection. So that's why when I switched, I knew the great things about it. Like the patient can tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
But also I had that fear that what if I fail? What if I fail? But, you know, it's part of life, right?
It's
we
part
have,
of
we
life.
Try.
But you are something else. You're something different.
Thank
I
you.
have no doubt that anything that you start, you're going to finish, and it's going to be
thank you.
successful. So thank you for sharing that, because the first time, when we got to know each other, really, you were establishing your practice. We had helped get some contracts set up. There's questions, billing, all those things. But I want to go back a little further. Prior to Davis, I want to go back. What interested you in medicine? How did you initially get started? Where are you from? Why did you get into medicine? And what keeps you going now?
Well, thank you. It actually, I'm originally from Afghanistan.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Afghanistan, and That's where I finished my medical school. I did my residency in neurosurgery. Finished resident. I worked 1 year in we call it chest hospital. It's mainly heart and lungs.
Okay.
Basically, that's a kind of specialty that I don't see it here. And here it's cardiology, pulmonology. They're very, very like subspecialties.
Right.
Over there it was together. We call it Avicenna Chest Hospital. I enjoyed that too. But what triggered me becoming a physician, I would say, we were kids. And all my life, when Russians invaded Afghanistan, it was war. I mean, the little things. We lost 18 members of our family during
Wow,
war.
I'm so sorry.
Like different times. It's been 40 years of war in Afghanistan, and there were times that, even growing up, not even in high school, I I was seeing the need, like how much you can do if you just have a nursing degree or a medical assistant or something, because that was the need. And then having a lot of family members being injured during those wars. So that triggered me. I said, well, I have to do something. And that's why I decided to do something, not just surgery. I want to be able to answer some other questions. Family medicine and general medicine is something that, yes, if someone is injured, they want to know about that injury. But also, how about if I have diabetes or something else? So I always kind of like, okay, I'm doing surgery, but how about if I can do more of family medicine? In Afghanistan, we don't have family medicine. It's internal medicine, but those doctors do the general medicine kind of work. That was the initial, I mean, trigger, or I would say,
Almost a need, even seems like.
the need. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Wow.
need, and especially, like I said, family members. Like, oh, I need to be able to help.
Right.
And when I came here, that was a different story. Well, I've worked with U.S. troops in Afghanistan, and
Okay.
when I first came, there were so many opportunities in terms of jobs for people who could speak languages. I speak Pashto, Farsi, and Uzbek.
Okay.
So I was the best fit to go back to Afghanistan and work as a translator. Um,
Wow.
and the salary was kind of, I would say, almost the salary of a physician in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So I'm talking about
To be a translator.
translator, and on top of it, you're not paying taxes.
Okay.
There were a lot of incentives.
Sure.
But
let me ask you a question real quick. So you went to medical school in Afghanistan.
Yes.
Became a neurosurgeon.
Mhm.
And thank you for sharing your history,
you.
by the way. I think for me, and I think for the audience, and for many other providers and just people, hearing where we come from, what piqued our interest in a certain industry, here it's medicine, I think goes a long way to say, do what you feel you're meant to do, or pursue your dreams, or pursue the action, or sometimes it's maybe complete the task, right? If you feel that there's a need. And thank you for sharing. I know we are very privileged in most Western countries to not have as many wars on our soil. And I don't think the story of those who grow up in an environment where war has been a part of their life since they were born gets told often enough. So I want to be sensitive to that, and I'm grateful for you sharing that.
Thank you.
So you go to medical school, then you came here, and then you went back. I didn't know this. So tell me, what brought you here, and then how did you end up going back, and then what happened after that to come back over here?
Okay.
That's quite the story.
So over there, I was a medical liaison officer. I was working with the U.S. troops. Basically, we were doing some interpretation and translation, and also medical exams. And that's how I got connected with my best friend. I'll take his name,
Okay.
Colonel Longsford. He's a great guy. But he knew that I'm also doing my residency in neurosurgery, and I have this side job. And he said, why don't you go to the U.S.? It was always like a debate. I kept saying, you know what, there's no way for me to go there. And plus, I don't want to go if I'm not learning or doing my education. Right now, I'm established and I want to finish my residency. So he helped me come to the United States.
And this is a colonel in the Afghan army or the
No,
United
no,
States?
United States. No,
Okay.
an Afghan army colonel.
What was it?
I don't think if they have the authority to do that.
Okay,
So
fair.
he was not just a colonel. He was a big commander. We call it BDOC, Base Defense Operative.
Wow.
So he
And
was
what was his name, you said?
Lance Langsford.
Lance Langsford.
Yeah,
Wow.
Colonel Langsford.
We owe him a big thank you for bringing you here.
He's retired.
Okay.
He's still my friend, and we are in touch. He's a great guy. He helped me. He basically vouched for me. So if I do anything wrong, guys, you know it's Langsford, not me.
So you're practicing as a neurosurgeon. You're finishing up your residency, it sounds like. How did you end up meeting Colonel Langsford? How did you get it? Tell me about that.
While I was going for my residency, so when first U.S. Presence, I would say, came to Afghanistan, they needed people who spoke English,
Sure.
familiar with technology, especially computers and stuff. So basically, there was a huge need, and I was the right person to have a side job. That's how I picked my side job.
Wow.
And they asked me if I could be a translator, and I said no. I want to work, but I have my hospital job. I've worked so hard to become a physician. I can't leave that. And yes, the salary you guys are paying is kind of, I don't know if it's the right intimidating or, I can't say no to that, but
Sure.
in the meantime, I want to continue with my residency. He did me a huge favor. He said, continue your residency, but since we need a medical doctor, you can come and do translations for us and some paperwork and things like that. And we agreed. So that's how I got my job.
Wow.
So I worked 2 jobs there, actually 3 jobs. There was another NGO, it's called International Medical Corps. They are also stationed here from the US. It's a non-governmental organization. I was working there. So when I finished my residency, Colonel Langsford was also leaving. His time was up in Afghanistan. He helped me come to the United States. That's how I moved here. And then I started my life from scratch.
Wow.
Because I was thinking that my credentials are all accepted here. I didn't know the whole details. And let me tell you another interesting story. When I first came here, I thought in Afghanistan you can train with a doctor, like especially in the rural areas, and they can train. And then you can do injections, few things you can sell, like in a pharmacy.
Sure.
Even you're not a pharmacist. I'm talking about not city of Kabul,
Yeah.
but in the rural
Rural.
areas. So I thought I worked in neurosurgery. I'm a neurosurgeon. At least I can work as an assistant. Let's get a job on as an assistant. So I'm behind the computer. It's my first week, and I'm applying everywhere. And I used to live in Santa Cruz. When I first came, we had a relative there. They helped us establish, and they said, well, we are not doctors. You're on your own. Do whatever you want to do. And so I started like applying. And then at Dominican Hospital, they had a job for a PA position. PA meant physician assistant. And I don't know physician because we don't have physician assistants in Afghanistan. We have doctors and nurses.
That's right.
And then I applied for a job. And guess what? They were saying like, what have you done? And I put all my experiences in neurosurgery. I have done laminectomies. I have done this, myelograms. You know, myelograms are old because in US we do MRI, CT scan.
Right.
Myelogram is old school. So the chief of neurosurgery, he liked it. He said, "Who is this guy?" And after they accepted my resume, they called me for an interview. And here you go. I have an interview. They said, well, the first one will be a phone interview, and then we will invite you into the hospital, and then we will talk more. But looking at your resume, you're accepted, man. congratulations. These are his
That's awesome.
words.
Yeah.
So he's asking me, so what have you done? And then I say, I've done this, all the surgical
Sure.
procedures. And then he was, so you've done myelograms, so you can do spinal tap. I said, of course, I've done plenty. Oh, great. In here, mostly anesthesiologists do that. Oh, I said, well, I'm coming from Afghanistan, so I had to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, okay, so great. I don't have any other questions. So remind me again, where did you go to school? I said, Kabul Medical University. He said, oh yeah, I got that part. I heard you. Okay, but which school did you graduate from? Tell me about your school here. He said, I just told you, Kabul Medical University. He said, you said you're applying for a PA job, right? So you're a licensed PA. Now I don't know what PA means,
Sure.
okay? He's asking what U.S. school I graduated from. And I didn't know that PA is a license. You have to do your master's degree. Now it's called DPA, Doctor of Physician.
Right.
So you could be a Doctor of Physician Assistant, or at that time Master. I didn't know about this. And I said, and I kept repeating Kabul Medical University. He said, when did you come to the U.S.? I said, a week ago. He said, have you lived in the United States before? I said, a week ago. So everything is 1 week old.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's like, oh boy, you have a long way in front of you. These are his words.
Oh, no.
These are his words. He said, well, the HR will call you and will give you the details. I really wish I could work with you. You're still hired. I mean, they're going to give you more information. I was like, well, he says you're hired. He liked me, but he's not hiring me. What's going on? And then the HR call and they explain, man, you need to get a license. For license, you have to go to school. For PA school, you need to take prerequisite classes. So it's like, I know you're going here, but for this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And I'm here.
The prerequisites are long.
I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, when did you graduate? I said, what? So that was 2007. I started in 95. I said, 12 years ago, I took all these biology classes. They said, all of them are expired. They expire in 5 years.
Oh, no.
They expire in 5 years. So you have to take all of those classes. I said, so I'll take them. I can challenge them or this. And they said, no. You cannot challenge those classes. You have to physically go to school and take those classes. Guess what? It took me years and years
To go back.
because there was not only one challenge. First, you're taking care of 5 kids. My wife doesn't speak English. She doesn't know how to drive, nothing. And I don't have a lot of family support. So I have to work pizza store, delivering pizza in gas station, and then take classes, right? And if you're new to any college, the other problem is I didn't know there is a priority system. So someone who comes new, they have to wait until the classes are available.
Right.
And I didn't know it's not like you can just go into a college and say, I want to join this class. No, you have to enroll.
You gotta apply. Yeah.
So, that was years and years. So it took me 8 years, almost 9 years, to get my master's degree in physician assistant and became a PA. At that time, I had already had like 3 other licenses. I became an EMT, registered nurse, nurse practitioner, and physician assistant.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the story of a lifetime. I think for people entering their career that maybe see just the application, just the school, that's one track. You had already done all of that 12 years prior. Yeah. You went through, to hear the fact that you had the Russians invade or occupy or start a war with Afghanistan, so you had to go through just the emotional aspect of dealing with your community. You decide you have to provide care for your family. then you go, hey, you know what? I kind of like this stuff. I want to give back. I want to pursue my career in medicine. You go through that process, which I'm sure was rigorous enough, right? Any medical school training, regardless of where you're at, is going to be challenging. Then the United States occupies Afghanistan. So another set of foreigners coming in. You make friends with, somebody there. They encourage you to come to the States. You serve your time there. You come over here thinking, great, I'm leaving the occupation, and now I'm gonna jump in, and they tell you got to start all over again. What a testimony! And then even then it wasn't done, because when you got to Davis, you had a whole nother set of challenges to go through the application process, right?
Oh yeah, that was. And the reason why I love UC Davis. A lot of people say I'm biased because I'm a graduate of UC Davis. No, I love it for so many reasons. First, at that time, UC Davis is the only school who kind of honor that medical degree you have. That's one thing. So other schools, they did not accept my even bachelor's degree.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I had to have a bachelor's degree, then complete all the prerequisites either before or after my bachelor's, then apply to PA school, which is another almost 3 years. So UC Davis was the only one who was saying, I think they still do it. If you have like legal documents, credentials from a recognized medical school overseas, they honor that. They will evaluate your credentials, and then they will look at the prerequisites. You have to complete the prerequisites though. That's something they need. And it takes almost 2 years for any foreign medical graduate. You can finish that. So I applied to UC Davis, completed all my prerequisites. I have a very beautiful resume. Everyone in the panel, they look at it, they say, well, we love it. This is good. Okay, you're invited to the interview. And I go there. I failed the interview. It's because in Afghanistan, you have to shut up and prove who you are once you're hired, or kind of be humble. In America, when you go to interview, you have to sell yourself.
Right.
You have to brag about the things you. So I am that shy guy. So here's the thing. I tell them I'm a neurosurgeon. So if you're comparing me with another applicant who just graduated from school and they don't know anything, I'm a neurosurgeon. So I told you that, right? So I'm humble. I'm quiet now. I don't say anything.
Enough said.
Enough said. But this is not good in an interview setting, so I failed. 2010, I failed. So from 2008 to 2010, I finished all my prerequisites. My God, I failed. What am I doing now? I said, well, we don't have a choice. So continue, do something else. So I started nursing school, the prerequisites for nursing. And then they said, okay, well now you come back next year. So do I wait a whole year? Yes. I came back the next year. Again, I failed. The interview, I failed. The next year I came, they said, oh, no, this is not a certificate anyway. It's a master's or a doctorate level degree. So you have to bring me, since you don't have a degree from the US, you have to prove it that you can speak, or you're English, proficient. That's what they wanted, the TOEFL test. Test of English as a foreign language.
Okay.
So I had to go back, take that test, prepare for that, passed it. By the time I come, oh, you missed the deadline, sir.
Oh, geez.
So what do? You wait another year.
Oh.
So you wait another year. And then I come back. And this time so the chemistry classes I took, that is expired. Oh, sir, you don't have time. You have to take the chemistry class. So fourth time? So now 2 times. Fourth time I failed.
You're a chemistry professor after that many rounds.
So it's try number 5. Now at this time, it's 2015. Now I'm already used to the system here. Kind of, I work multiple jobs, even a pizza store, but you learn the culture. You learn the system. And then I got a nursing degree. I started working as a nurse. So I'm learning more. And but I still am in love. I love nursing, but for some reason I prefer to be a provider,
Yeah.
physician assistant, or a medical doctor. In the meantime, I'm preparing for my boards now. I say, well, it's too old, but let's try for my medical boards. Maybe I can pass that and start a residency all over. That's another route. But anyway, so UC Davis is my top priority, and I work hard. And this time I learned all the tricks. Okay, tell me about yourself, who you are, tell me about your strengths and weaknesses, typical interview type
Sure.
questions, right? I started the application again, and I was invited again. Oh, you're a strong candidate, come over. So it's interview time now. In those years, it was funny. This is before COVID.
Sure.
So they had 8 stations where you enter each station. They changed the format, the interview style a bit different, and they wanted to, like, check you overall, how you're doing, what's your thing, and it's okay. But for someone who failed 5 times, right, and they wish to wear that white coat again,
That's right.
it's a lot of trauma. 5 times, right? 4 times. This is my 5th time. I entered this, and we so they would give you 7 minutes. You finish your answer in 5 minutes. Basically you speak for 5 minutes, and the other person who is interviewing you, they don't talk. It's not like typical interview
It's not
type
dialogue.
question. No, it's not a dialogue. They would just make notes. That's it.
It's almost even more intimidating because you kind of
Exactly.
you have no feedback.
No feedback, and sometimes even the facial expressions are a little bit like.
It's like talking to a psychiatrist or something.
Exactly. So the first station I entered was the question. So the question is behind the door. You read it, and then there is a computer. You log in, and then the speaker will give you 2 minutes to finish all of this, and they may say, you may enter now. It's like those sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
You enter, and there is someone, hello sir, and they say, your time starts now. And then you start talking. The question was, what is the object on the table, and teach me how to use it. And it's a toaster. A toaster. Okay, now I want to come and heal people. And I have prepared for what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, give me an example of this, give me an example, and what is this object, and how, teach me how to use it. Mm-hmm. I never forget that question. It's like all of a sudden, my God, what is going on? Last year it was the panel. What happened to the interview now? And I said, well, this is a toaster. So now I'm using all my common sense. There is nothing to prepare for, right? Well, this is a toaster. You plug it in, and you make sure you put the setting and mild, moderate, or medium, high, low, something like that. I'm making up. Be careful with I'm just adding stuff. I don't know what to say for 5 minutes,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So if you ask me now, I say, you plug it, put the bread in, done. 10 seconds. But now I'm trying to talk for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So make sure there is no open wires. It's, safety hazard and this and that. I didn't like it. I got out. It's my 7 minutes are over. In 5 minutes time, they give you a warning. You have 2 minutes left. So basically, wrap it up.
Yeah.
I got out. Now I'm already kind of stressed and depressed. We are 8 people. We get out all at the same time, and we don't look at each other. It was very funny. And then you move on to the next station. Once you move on to the next station, you log in again. And this time, since I was a little bit stressed, I didn't read the question properly. This question was saying there were like around 50 pictures, different pictures, posters. Mm-hmm. The question was, pick 2 posters and tell us what is your one picture as kind of showing or kind of saying, presenting your current state, and one is your future. What are your thoughts? It's like you pick a picture and say, this is my present or past, and this is my future. Very hypothetical question. They just want to know how you answer questions like that. So, to be honest with you, I kind of get confused. What does that mean? And then the speaker said, you may enter now. So I haven't decided because I'm going through these pictures. So the pictures, random picture, an office, like a wide spread area, an ocean, wall of China, some birds on a tree. See, right? So when he said, you may enter now, I got confused and I grabbed the whole box, 50 posters. Now the question says, pick 2. So once I entered the room, and the person, I don't want to
Sure.
they were all my teachers. I don't want to mention their names, but she knows who I'm talking about. When she looked at me, she kind of saw the whole. She said, "Sir, did you read the question?" I said, "Yeah, I did." So of course you don't speak English. If it says pick 2 and you brought 50, you don't understand English. You cannot even comprehend the question. I was, and the same question was written on the table. She said, "Can you read it again?" I said, "Pick 2." I said, "I'm sorry. I made a mistake. These are the 2. These are the 2 I meant. I'll put the rest back. These are the 2 I meant. I think I picked the wall of China wall, and 2 birds on a tree." And so she said, you can go ahead and start. I said, the wall of China, this is something, it's a long road. We have to struggle, we have to study hard, we have to work hard in life and become somebody, and then whatever goals you have in life, you will achieve it. And those birds, that will be my future. I will fly, I will do this. I don't understand what am I saying, but I understand that this is not good. This is not good. You already failed, man. I'm talking and I already have in my mind that you already failed 2 stations and you're competing with all these smart people. There's no way they accept you. You already messed it up.
It's your 5th time.
It's your 5th time. And then I'm thinking, well, you already have a nursing degree. I think it's okay. You can work as a nurse. That's right. And so, but in the meantime, I'm so mad that why this happened, why I missed it. So the 3rd station, I made up my mind. I said, okay, so from now on, no formalities. I'm done. They're gonna fail me again. I already tried 4 times. This was my last try. I entered the room. This time, even my attitude, my entire behavior changed from that tense interview. It's just like now I want to tell you my mind. I will tell you what's in my heart. I entered this room and the person sitting there is I don't know. He is the dean of the faculty. He's a big guy.
Okay. But you didn't know that.
I didn't know
Okay.
that. Well, that's how it was supposed to be. So you should not know who is in the panel. So I didn't know who is who, and I didn't know the faculty anyway. So he is the dean of the faculty. Very good guy, very smart guy. This question is a very typical question. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your strengths and weaknesses and why you want to pursue a career in medicine. Very typical question. But now I'm already mad. I don't want to even read that question because I think I failed. I entered the room and I'm just sitting there. Yeah, go ahead, start. I said, well, I don't know, sir, what to say, but I don't think if this whole interview means something. And he said, what? I said, I think you guys are looking for some smart kids. And I started using kids instead of applicants
Sure.
who were applying for master's and doctorate degree. Said, you're looking for some smart kids who can speak good English and they can convince you they are better applicants. That's all. Because I don't think if you're looking for providers who can serve the community. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'll tell you, sir. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody here. These people are way more qualified than me. But I'll tell you, if you're looking for someone who you can train and let them go back to the community and serve them, I challenge every single one of them. Bring them, and I want to know who is better than me in serving those communities. I may not be able to, I may not be a good speaker, but I want to challenge that. My knowledge now and my knowledge when I graduate from your program. You know who I am, sir. And it's like you're asking them, you know who I am. It's like, I'm already mad. And he said, yeah, I have your resume in front. I said, no, you don't know. Everything is not in my resume. I'm a neurosurgeon. I have seen more death and injuries than anybody in this cohort. I have seen so many lives, saved lives, lost, and mistakes, errors, things like that. My entire life, I was born and raised in a situation like that, and now working in the surgical industry in Afghanistan, that expose you to a lot of things. I don't think if these people have seen that kind of, and so and I said, well, you want to know about my strengths and weaknesses? Well, what is strength and weaknesses? I came to this country empty hands, and I was a neurosurgeon. I started my life in a pizza store, in a gas station. I worked all night long, standing like all night long. I did not have any breaks. And during the day, only a few hours of sleep. And I took classes, prerequisite classes. I had to support my family, get an RN degree, get an EMT degree. I do not have a B. Look at my grades. I worked 2 jobs, raised 5 children, helped my wife, and still brought you straight A's. And you're telling me what are my strengths and weaknesses? I don't want to even talk about it. And then he's like, wait, stop. He's like, okay, so tell me about Afghanistan. I say, it's useless. I already failed 2 stations. And here I haven't even answered your questions. So that means you're also failing. So the 5 more stations left, and there are so many applicants. So there's no way. I already have tried 4 times. This is my 5th time. So I'm not expecting a magic this time. So we are done. But I want you to please convey this message to whoever is the person who's like, so finally, I'm not listening to his question. He said, shut up and sit. Because the speaker said, okay, your time is up. And he says, and I kind of like stood up, that, okay, my time is up. I have to leave. He said, shut up and sit. Yeah, these were his words. And Dr. Mark Christensen, he opened up another school, a very great guy. He said, okay, I know the time is up. And then he asked another follow-up question. He said, okay, so you also got your RN degree, right? I said, yes. So he said, are you a registered nurse? I said, I am a registered nurse. I have been working for a whole year now. And then he was like, okay, stop here. You go straight outside and tell there was another lady's name, she said, he said, find April and tell her to put your name under the NP program now. And I said, is that some kind of a joke or something? I still have to go through my proper interview. He said, tell them exactly what I told you and then continue with your interview and do well. I thought, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but I will just follow the instructions. I'm failing anyway. So I got out, and they were like, wait, you cannot come out, sir. What happened? You, that's the test area. You cannot leave that area. I said, I'm not leaving, someone ordered me to do that.
Mhm.
So the guy over there, now I'll say something funny. I didn't know his name.
Sure.
Now I have to describe the person,
No.
and I respect him so much.
Of course.
Dr. Christensen doesn't have hair.
Sure.
But now I can't use the word. The gentleman in that room is there are two different gentlemen. No, the gentleman in station.
Sure.
So finally, she came with me. She said, "Okay, I'll walk with you." And she opened the door and looked at him. They looked each other in the eyes, and he said, "Yes."
Wow.
I said, "Well, I think he is somebody," because normally that lady would have kicked me out of the interview area.
Right.
But she was like quietly left the area, and she said, "Continue, sir." I said, "Oh, I don't know." And then, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks later, I got the congratulations.
Amazing.
Congratulations. Yeah, so that was my story. 5 times.
Wow. that is something. I mean, I often reflect on. I didn't know a lot of what you told me today. I didn't realize that you were practicing in Afghanistan.
Oh yeah.
I knew you were practicing with. I knew you were practicing as a neurosurgeon in Afghanistan. I didn't know that it was correspondent with the time frame the United States Army was there. I didn't know that. I also didn't know that you and your family were impacted by the Russians.
Oh, yeah.
And then to come here and to work as a pizza driver, to work in a gas station, to have to figure out that you can't just hop into a newly physician assistant role. You have to start from scratch, and you go through the EMT, you go through the nursing, you go through 4 rounds of interviews before you get to the 5th one to finally pull it all off and say, you know what, it's not going to matter. You guys have interviewed me 4 other times. You don't know, you don't understand what I've gone through to get here. And they finally hear you out. It's an amazing success story. And to cap it off, we started the conversation with you're now surpassing 5,000 patients in your own practice, multiple locations, and urgent care associated with it. It's a true testament to your character. I think God's will. I think in our world, having a heart for the community and having a heart for the patient, I think comes through in everything that you do. You have such a good name in the community, and you're doing such amazing things that I'm impressed to call you Dr. Niazi. I'm always so humbled to come here. And I want to make sure we get you to your next patient. But I have a 1 or 2 last questions. Now that you've been established in this location for more than a year, Sacramento is home to a lot of Afghan immigrants that have come here. What are some of the needs, if you could give me a top 3 needs that you're seeing with these folks that come over here, and how the healthcare community, aside from yourself, because you can't see all of them, right. I'm sure you've seen many of them, but maybe not all of them, how we can all support that and make sure that they can make this community a part of their home.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. Number 1 is education. They need to get educated. The culture, if we can help them orient with the new lifestyle, because these people are used to a different system. They're not used to family medicine and kind of managed care. They're used to a system where it's all out of pocket, and there's no insurance, and you can see any provider the same day if you want, because you're paying out of pocket. We can help them with kind of seminars or I would say training sessions, cultural awareness, things like that. And then I don't know if we can talk to the educational institutions such as UC Davis, other Samuel Merritt, other universities. We have a lot of trained doctors, nurses.
Established in Afghanistan, just like you.
Just like
very
me,
similar.
But they're lost. I mean, I spent years and years of my life. I don't want them to go through all these years of training while they could get like short trainings, and we can use. I know a urologist. Trust me, he did the surgery on the president
of Afghanistan.
So now, president of Afghanistan could come to the U.S. or any other country any minute. But he said, no, you are doing my surgery. So you see the level of trust. This guy is that trained.
Yeah.
He's doing nothing here.
Can he pass the language exam?
He speaks fluent
Brilliant.
English now. I mean, he has an accent, but he
Well, of course.
perfectly.
Of course. I mean, Sacramento needs another urologist. We all know that.
Oh, he's gonna be like.
Is he pursuing an avenue, or is he
Yes.
lost?
So the easy thing. I mean, we discussed a lot of options, and I told him like it's gonna take you to if you want to do physician assistant or nurse practitioner, it will take you years because you have to finish the prerequisites and then go to school. That's another minimum 5 to 6 years minimum. And he's already in his late 50s.
Sure.
He needs something shorter. So he's pursuing ultrasound. I mean, ultrasound is good. He will be an ultrasound technician.
Yeah, I understand.
But he
It's not the
you
same.
know, his skills.
Yeah,
I
the skill set
wanna
exceeds
be able
an
to use
ultrasound
them,
or
yeah.
a PA even. I understand.
Yeah, if we could provide more resources, educational or non-educational, especially for these newcomers with a lot of education, skills,
Right.
and knowledge, that would be awesome. I don't know
Yeah.
how much of that is.
Well,
possible.
I've thought about it. I mean, you know, we have some folks at work who are also immigrants and from Afghanistan, and I place big emphasis on helping them try to think of things to sustain their future. And anytime you have a large community that immigrates into another country, obviously they stick together, but it's how can the outside, the rest of the, you know, the greater Sacramento area in this instance, help support them so that from a health standpoint, so they don't fall into the standard American diet, if you will, and follow this the typical American lifestyle and health protocol, which obviously leads to a lot of chronic disease and poor outcomes. We don't want that to happen, right? And then how can we also embrace them economically and go, okay, let's not, I mean, the ultimate American dream is what you're describing that you've done. You've come here, you started from the bottom with a skill set and worked your way to effectively the top, right? I mean, you are an established businessman in this community now. Maybe not even Elon Musk if we think of the top, but you are providing a service to the community that's in need, and you are also very successful in a business context. So that is to be, I think, celebrated in the United States. How can we take the rest of these folks and expose them to the opportunity that is in America, business-wise, right? Whether that's insurance or if it's restaurants or if it doesn't really matter what it is, help them become educated, not just in the language, not just in the culture, but that they can then give back and help create wealth for their family and for their community to help everybody rise. Because I don't think anybody wants to feel like they're just receiving a handout and have nothing to give, right? So that's something that maybe, you know, outside of this conversation we can talk about. There's lots of farms and land around. I mean, if we could start different markets, I know there are some, but you know, for some of these folks who are really looking to get going and I know there's some entrepreneurs in that community. There's folks ready to go. How can we support that and foster that? You know, I'd be willing to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. There will be a new magazine published. It's they're working on it, and they said maybe in 2 weeks, but looking at whole logistics of it, maybe in 4 weeks.
Sure.
But it's called the Afghan Business Hub.
Awesome.
Yeah, they came to the clinic and they said, "You're also one of the." I mean, I don't call myself a business person. I just love.
Oh, you are. Oh, you are. You're running a business. This is a business.
Thank you. Yeah. It is now. I enjoy talking to people, and if I can, helping people. That's what gives me energy, and everything else comes with it. So they said, well, you guys are also the first Afghan business in the medical industry. So we dedicated one page just for you. It's
amazing.
Also kind of for publicity and marketing.
Of course.
People will, so this doctor accepts new patients, and these are the services they provide, and it's like a brochure. It will help you guys and also help the community. They know where to come.
That's right.
Well, I said, that's great. I don't mind. And then in the meantime, they asked me if I can publish something like every 3 months. They might do it quarterly, like educational material. I said I'm totally for it. I would like to, especially basic educational stuff, health wise.
Sure.
That's what that's what we signed up for, and hopefully you will see that in the latest in a month.
Let me know when it's released.
I will.
I'd be honored to read it.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Dr. Niazi, I appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure, and I'm so proud of you. I'm impressed, and I can't wait. The next time we talk, maybe that 5 has gone to 25,000 patients, and you got 4 more locations, and you have your urologist working with you.
Yes, I can't wait to serve the community. That's my source of energy.
It comes through.
Thank you so much for coming. I mean,
appreciate
you give me
anytime.
time.
Anytime.
All right.